Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Emily Burkett. Nice to meet you.
Hey Emily, and thank you for helping. You're actually in my very first video with a student. I hope that you're up for it.
Yes, definitely.
So just so we can get a little acquainted, can you tell me something you enjoy doing in your free time or something that you're good at?
Yeah, I love swimming. My mom used to call me a fish when I was really little.
Ah, and here in San Francisco, where do you swim? Do you swim in the pool or swim?
I like swimming in pools, but I love swimming in the ocean as well.
Ah, it's cold.
Definitely cold.
Okay. I grew up in Hawaii, so I enjoy swimming, but in the pool and the beach, the water is very warm.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Did you swim like competitively too in school? Okay.
No, just for fun.
Okay, that's great. Jackson likes to swim too. It took him a while though. He was real scared of going deep in the water. He would always only go as deep as he could touch the bottom of the ground.
So did I when I was little.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then actually when he was a puppy, when we went to Christie Field, he would try to drink the water.
Oh, so cute.
He's like a silly guy. All right, so we're here today to work on a problem together. And are you ready to get going?
Definitely.
All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so this is a math problem from the College Board. It's from section 4 of the SAT math test, which does not allow calculators. And Emily, can you go ahead and read it for all of us?
Yeah. In a video game, each player starts the game with K points and loses 2 points each time a task is not completed. If a player who gains no additional points and fails to complete 100 tasks has a score of 200 points, what is the value of K?
Great. So in a minute, all of you out there and Emily, you'll be giving this problem a try, and it's all right if you're not sure how to do it. You can even just guess if you want, and we'll come back and look at it together. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Welcome back. So Emily, you had a chance to look at this problem a little bit. What do you think?
I'm completely lost.
Okay, so let's think about this. So you've played video games before?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that I found confusing about this problem is the player is starting with a certain number of points.
Unknown.
And yeah, and unknown points, that's right. And as the player makes mistakes, each time the player makes a mistake, there's going to be a deduction or minus number of points. Was that clear to you from the problem? Okay, and how many points are being lost every time there's a mistake or every time a task is not completed?
2.
2. Okay, so you know what I found super confusing about this? When I play video games, like, do you play video games much?
Yes.
Like, what does it start at? Like, how many points do you start at typically?
I'm not sure.
Okay, the ones that I play, and it's been a while, but they usually start with 0.
Uh-huh.
And then as you do things, you get more points.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You might lose lives, but I thought this was a little confusing because you're starting with a certain number of points, as you mentioned, and then you might lose points. Okay, so is it okay if I write?
Of course.
Okay, so there's the start of the game. And do we know how many points the player started with?
No.
No. So I'm going to put a big question mark there. Okay.
Doesn't it equal K? Can I write that?
Yeah, you could put K. Okay. So you start with K points, we don't know what K is equal to. That's great, thanks for the help. And then right now, after the player has been playing for a while, how many points does the player have?
Yes, 200.
Right, great. And between the start, when they had K points, and now, each time the player made a mistake, the player lost how many points?
2.
2. So when the player failed the first task, the score is going to go down by how much?
2.
2. So can I just write minus 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then on the second mistake, what happens to the score?
Another negative 2.
Yeah, another 2 gets subtracted, right?
Right.
So there's going to be negative 2 or 2 points subtracted over and over and over again.
For 100, right?
Exactly, for 100 mistakes.
Oh.
Okay, so how many points total did the player lose if the player made 100 mistakes?
So that would be 100 times negative 2.
Yeah, you want to write down what that is? So you got 100. Yeah, it's a little hard to write minus. Great. And do you know what that equals?
50? Negative 50?
So not quite. So if a student loses 2 points 100 times, what's all the points together that the student's going to lose?
200?
Yeah. So it's going to be positive or negative 200?
Negative?
Negative, yeah. So it's minus 200. Okay.
Oh.
So the player started with a certain number of points, K, and then lost how many points,
200.
and ended up with how much?
0.
Wait, so we now have how many?
200.
Okay. And we got to 200 after we subtracted 200.
Mm-hmm.
So do we know how many we started with?
0. Right?
Okay. So if we started with 0 and we subtracted 2 each time, we would start getting negative points, right?
Right.
So what number would I start with so that after I took away 200, I would end up with 200?
400.
Excellent. Why don't you write that down?
400.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
So it equals that, right?
Yeah. Can you explain in your own words why the player started with 400?
Because he lost 200, so he has like a final score of 200.
Yeah.
Points.
So 400 minus 200 gives us the 200.
Right.
Yeah. And so the answer would be
D.
D. Right. So I'm going to just circle this so everyone can see it. The answer is D. Does that make sense?
Yes, completely, actually.
Okay. So I want to show you another way to think about it. See how our choices were 0, 150, 250, and 400?
Right.
So another thing I want to show you is this is a multiple choice problem.
Okay.
And when you're taking a multiple choice test, if you're not sure what the answer is, especially because there might be time pressure, even if you're able to guess, just go ahead and guess.
Okay.
Because you might get it right.
Right.
And if you're able to eliminate 1 or 2 or 3 answers, you can zero in on the ones that are left over to guess from.
Right.
Okay, so we know that the player ended up, pick another color. What color do you want?
Blue.
Okay, so let's take that blue. We ended up with 200 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was green.
It's okay.
Okay, we ended up with 200 points.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know how many we started with, but we know that that starting value minus 2 lots and lots of times ended up with 200, right? So let's look at the choices. Do you think the starting point value at the very start of the game was bigger than or smaller than 200?
Bigger than.
Why was it bigger than?
Because he had failed 100 tasks, but he still had 200 points.
Yeah, so he started with more than 200 because we know that when we took away 2 points lots and lots of time, he ended up with 200.
Right,
So he started with something bigger than 200.
correct.
So which could we eliminate knowing that?
0 and 150.
Yeah, perfect. So why don't you X those out? You just put an X next to the A and the B. Okay, so do you see, like we didn't have to do much math, but if you had to guess, at least you now know there are only 2 to choose from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna wind down, but I wanted to ask you if the answer of 400 makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Okay. And Jackson's back here saying hi to you. And can you, for all of the viewers out there working on their math test, do you have any words of wisdom or encouragement?
Good luck. Just keep studying.
Okay, good. And keep at it, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so you and Jackson both wave goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you next time. Thank you so much, Emily. Bye.